Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, I am going to try my very best in the most organized way possible to go on about the Breeze Rider boots versus Snapdragon scalers and which boots are good for what builds with Katsu, and just kind of go over the two boots in general, right? So like you can tell from the title, Breeze Rider boots versus Snapdragon, which is better. In this video, I'm going to try to be as objective as possible and give like the benefits of both, but then I'm also going to give my opinion on why I think one is better than the other. People that follow me in the Fab Discord, or like not follow me, but like talk to me in the Fab Discord, might know that I run Breeze Rider boots now, but I ran Snapdragon scalers for over 6 months. The biggest thing with these two cards, right, is at the end of the day, they're both viable. They both are good cards. They both work well. Like you can run either one. Now, what I will say is that it depends on the build that you're running on which one might be more useful for your deck, right? You can't interchange these out in any Katsu deck, right? I would say it's safe to say the general consensus for Breeze Rider boots was they were more in like really slow mid-rangey or like even control style decks, whereas Snapdragon scalers was more for the aggro decks. I'm going to try at the end of this video tell you why Breeze Rider boots are good in aggro. But to start, we'll just go over each boot and we'll go over which is good for what, right? So normally people run Snapdragon scalers with aggro builds, Breeze Rider boots with more, I'll put this up here because my camera, Breeze Rider boots more with mid-rangey control builds. So with Snapdragon scalers, the first thing we'll talk about is targets, right? What are the best targets for Snapdragon scalers? What are you typically trying to use Snapdragon scalers on? And if there's any Katsus out there that are watching this, or people that play Katsu and you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I'd love to hear comments on what other people run for their Snapdragon builds. I would say the number one target for any Snapdragon build is Snatch. I think most people can say that. Some people might say E-Strike as well, but these two are like close first and second, right? This is what you want to be snapping ideally in a perfect world. The reason being is you play Snatch on a mass trigger, potential mass trigger, you're going to be drawing 2 cards possibly and threatening Snapdragon scalers to give it go again, right? So if they let it hit for some crazy god-awful reason, you're going to be drawing 2 cards, you can snap into those 2 cards and go without your turn, right? Same thing with the Lightning Strike. A lot of people like to choose the 5 withdraw card feature and then threaten Snapdragon scalers because you drew a card and now you can snap it if they let it hit, or even if they don't let it hit. Some people do the 7 straight 7 if they have a 1 or 2 cards left in hand. So you're dealing with 7. Sorry about dogs, y'all. Dealing with 7 for gosh, they just totally threw me off. Dealing with 7 damage and then possibly snapping and continuing with your turn if you have a card or 2 left. And then some people, choose different things. But these are typically the first and second option when it comes to Snapdragon scalers, right? I would say the third and fourth option usually is something like, in my opinion at least, something like a Soul Beat Strike or a Torrent of Tempo. Maybe you're trying to get one of these 2 lines off. It doesn't 100% have automatic go again, but you might give it go again with Snapdragon scalers and go into one of these builds or one of these lines, right? That's also an option. Kind of a dark horse option that I could see you using Snapdragon scalers for as well as Whelming Gust Wave. If you don't have a Surging Strike in hand, you could Kadachi Whelming Gust Wave. You play Whelming Gust Wave at some point during the turn, using Snapdragon scalers on this to then go, if it hits, then go get McGinty. You can also use it for that as well. So these are like the 5 main targets, give or take, I would say, for Snapdragon scalers. And yeah, so that's what I would say. Now, I'll stay objective here and I'll talk about Breeze Rider boots. So the difference between Breeze Rider boots and Snapdragon scalers is Snapdragon scalers is, for anyone that's not aware, it's an attack reaction. It has to be played on the stack before the card resolves. Breeze Rider boots works like refraction bolters. It's played after the card is resolved. After damage has been dealt, after a ninja attack is hit, then you're allowed to play Breeze Rider boots if it's a ninja attack action. Remember that. And it basically gives you your action point back. And then it also gives all cards with combo go again for the rest of the turn, right? So why is that important? So with Breeze Rider boots, what I typically try to do, I don't run Snatch in my builds. And people are going to think that I'm crazy for that and that I'm nuts. But I can tell you right now, I have taken Snatch out of my Katsu build completely and I have not noticed any less gas. For Breeze Rider boots, obviously Snatch and a Lightning Strike don't even count because they won't trigger it because it's not a ninja attack action. But my top targets for Breeze Rider boots, to be completely honest, are my combo starters, right? So Surging Strike is one, but my typical 3 targets that I want to be snapping Breeze Rider boots on are cards like Head Jab, Leg Tap, and 100 Winds. And I'll tell you why. So with Snapdragon scalers, right, it's not obvious to the point where they're bad, but it's obvious to what you're going to be snapping them on. Whereas with Breeze Rider Boots, what I tend to try to do is, like, if you have a 4 or 5 card hand, I want to play one of these low to the ground combo stars on Chain Link 1. And what this does is I still have 4 cards in hand, right? Unless they're an Oldheimer or a Starvo, like Control Starvo, that can just eat up damage so easily, which it is what it is, that's the case. Most people don't want to block that first Chain Link on 100 wins or a head jab, especially 100 wins head jab. Leg tap they might, because they don't want to give you rise and knee thrust, but especially for these two and even this, they don't want to block that first attack, because likely you still have 4 cards in hand, 5, or three cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, or just 3 cards, which is still good, and they know more attacks are coming, right? So they have to make a decision, like, do I block this out and then just take whatever the heck he's gonna keep coming at me with. So what I like to do is play one of these cards, let one of them hit, and then be able to go into one of my combo lines, right? So what you want to do with Breeze Rider Boots is, like, let's say 100 wins hits, right? It all depends on what's in your hand, but typically what I'm trying to do with Breeze Rider Boots, this is the ideal turn, right, is on a 5 card hand. So you have a blue in hand, which I literally purposely brought a blue here. Brought a blue into this to show you guys. Let's say you have a blue. We'll just say you have 100 wins, right? And we'll do this. We'll put a Whelming Gust Wave in here. That's one piece of that line. And then we'll bring in a Rushing River and a Break Tide. 5 card hand. Let's say you have a Rushing River and Arsenal. All right. So let's say the Arsenal, Rushing River the turn prior. And this is your 4 card hand. So you have a Fluster Fist, 100 wins, a Whelming Gust Wave, and a Break Tide. So typically with a Snapdragon build, I don't know. There's a bunch of lines you could play here, right? You could play 100 wins first and go get another 100 wins with the Whelming Gust Wave, and then play out Rushing River, snap it, and then play Break Tide. You could pitch a blue, Kadachi, 100 wins. That hits, right? Then you play out Rushing River, and then if they don't eat whether it hits or not, you could snap it and then play Break Tide, and then Arsenal your Whelming. There's definitely options you could do. What I like about Breeze Rider Boots is it allows you to basically play 2 combo lines in the same turn. So as you can see right now, I have the second and third portion of the Break Tide line. What I don't have is McGinty. So what I can go do, right? So if I play 100 wins first, they let it hit. You pop Breeze Rider Boots on 100 wins, which is now going to give all cards with go again, right? Usually this works if you have a Tunic resource. To do this type of hand, you need to have a Tunic resource, right? Because you're going to have to pay for that McGinty. So you discard your blue or whatever your 0 cost is, right? Then you go get McGinty Release from your deck. You play Whelming Gust Wave. It's going to have 3 with go again. Then you play McGinty Release, right? That's going to have 5 with go again. Now, heck, if that hits, then you go get Lord of Wind. Now, Lord of Wind's going to have go again. Then you play out Rushing River. That has 3 with go again. Then you play out Break Tide. That has 5 dominate go again, right? So with a Tunic resource on an ideal turn like this, let's just say McGinty Release hit, which I would say it's going to most likely, because they've probably blocked Whelming Gust Wave to help prevent the mass trigger. Like, on a worse turn with this, you're going to play out 100 wins, Whelming, McGinty Release, Rushing River, Break Tide. On a great turn, you're going to go get Lord of Wind and then play Lord of Wind, right? So on the best possible turn, this is now dealing 3, 6, plus 5. I hate doing math in public. 11. Let's just say Lord of Wind's not pumped at all. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21 damage turn with a banish that it's definitely going to hit. Like, by that point, they're probably going to have no cards in hand. 21 damage turn with a card banished, and you can play next turn in Arsenal. And if that Lord of Wind hit, Rushing River hit, Break Tide hit, you're probably going to get a mass trigger and have a 6-card hand for next turn. That's what the power of Breeze Rider Boots basically allows you to do. That's one example. But what Breeze Rider Boots allows you to do that Snap does not allow you to do is it allows you to switch up combo lines mid-turn, basically, right? Or mid-hand. It allows you to go from one combo line to the next and be less predictable with your Breeze Rider Boots, right? At the end of the day, it technically completely matters what cards you value from a standpoint, right? And what cards are kind of like your win condition. For me, being able to switch between combo lines and remain unpredictable is what my win condition is, which is why Breeze Rider Boots works in my aggro package. Now, what I've had some people ask me, which is a completely fair question, is how is your gas, right? Like, what is your gas like if you use them? Like, let's say you use Breeze Rider Boots turn 2, gets a really good turn like that turn, and then you don't have them anymore. Now all you have is your combo stars for go again. Like, how do you supplement that? Well, even bigger than that is the main reason why in the break tide line, technically, is the main reason why I think Breeze Rider Boots are more viable in an aggro build. Because basically, if you think about it, if you're running 3 of each of these, let's just say 3 of each of these, then you're running 3 Surging Strikes. That's 12 cards with automatic go again in your deck, no matter what. That's not, and you might be running yellow 100 wins and other stuff. I'm just saying 12 on average. Most people, most Katsus now are running 6 even bigger than that. It's all the reds, all the yellows. You're at 15, 18 decks in 18 cards in your deck now that either have go again or can give go again, like this. Then you have Razor Reflexes, 3 of those. Now you're at 21 cards that either have go again or give go again. Maybe you're starting to see what I'm trying to say here when it comes to the fact that you already have a third of your deck that either has go again or can give go again in some way, shape, or form. So why wouldn't you run a card that can give everything else go again, right? Now, essentially, with Breeze Rider Boots, you're allowed to basically, go nuts with your whole entire deck. And even if you pop it, it's not that big a deal. The bad thing I've noticed about Snaps is if you don't use it with Snatch or Enlightened Strike, it kind of is underwhelming. It can be underwhelming. I think people will just fall in love with Snap because, yes, it does help with some turns, but it doesn't give everything crazy go again, right? And Breeze Rider Boots is allowed to give the whole turn go again. So that's the way I look at it, and that's the way and now you obviously I kind of already shifted into the non-objective side of things. But since Breeze Rider Boots is not an attack reaction, and I learned this in my game the other day, I'm learning stuff even as much as I play Katsu. You can, when you have multiple triggered effects on a turn, you can order the stack how you want. So this is a triggered effect. It's an on-hit effect, right? When an energy attack action card hits, what I did was I don't remember the whole line I played, but I basically played a Rushing River into a Break Tide, and Break Tide was on Mask Trigger. Now, so if Break Tide hits, I'm going to draw 1 from Mask, and I'm going to banish 1 from Break Tide, right? And Break Tide had go again from Breeze Rider Boots. What I was able to do, or not, Breeze Rider Boots hadn't been popped yet. I apologize. So yeah, it was 5 Dominate on a Mask Trigger, and I still had 1 card in hand. I remember this now. Sorry about this. And what I did was I popped Breeze Rider Boots on Break Tide, but since it's an on-hit effect, Break Tide's an on-hit effect, and since Mask of Momentum is an on-hit effect, I'm allowed to order any 3 of these in any sequence I want. Since they're all the same triggered effect, I'm allowed to, as the target active player, I'm allowed to pick the sequence. So guess what I did? I picked Break Tide's effect to resolve first, banishing a card, being able to see it. Then I picked Mask of Momentum to resolve second, which allowed me to draw a card. So now I've seen 2 cards in my hand, and now I can pick if I want to Breeze Rider Boots or not. You can't do that with Snapdragon Scalers because it's an attack reaction, but you can do it with Breeze Rider Boots. If they're all triggered effects, even if Mask isn't in play, even if it's just Break Tide, you can choose to banish that card before you decide if you want to pop Breeze Rider Boots. It doesn't have to be, it has to be in the stack, but it can be at any point during the stack, right? So going back to kind of the final thing is Snapdragon Scalers is really good, and the reason I don't run anymore is because I'm running all these different lines. I run 1 open the center of my deck. I'll show you the deck down below. You can look at the Breeze Rider Boots build and the Snapdragon Scalers build. If your build has, is contingent around Snatch, Enlightened Strike, it's contingent around cards like Soul Bead Strike and Torn to Tempo, like these non-combo go again on-hit effect cards, right? Or like breakpoint cards, definitely run Snaps. If I was running all these and like not running the Break Tide line, I would run Snapdragon Scalers because it makes sense. But if you want to try to mix up your style and mix up your game plans, and in my opinion, even as an aggro Katsu become way less predictable, run Breeze Rider Boots. At least give it a try. Give it a solid try. I'm telling you right now, I've played against a couple buddies. I play against them every night, pretty much, and we test different decks, and I obviously test Katsu a lot. All 3 of them have said that this deck is more impressive with Breeze Rider Boots. It's more consistent because from turn to turn, you're threatening way more than you would with Snapdragon Scalers. You just are. Your deck kind of has to be built around it, but it can, at the same time, nonetheless, be more effective from turn to turn. I don't have bad hands. As long as Breeze Rider Boots is in play, I don't have a dead hand, essentially. Unless I draw like 3 blues, obviously. But that's the baseline of the deck, the differences between Breeze Rider Boots and Snaps. Snaps is more for like on-hit effect, non-combo go-again style decks, maybe even the Belittle package, stuff like that, right? It's really good with it. But Breeze Rider Boots, if you're wanting to play a bunch of different lines like these, but also still be able to give that same pressure that a hyper aggro Katsu deck would, then Breeze Rider Boots might be better for you. But let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think of you know, the two boots together. Which one's better? Which one's worse? Honestly, I think they're both good. It just depends on what your build is and what you do. Personally, I think Breezewire Boots has a higher ceiling than Snapdragon Scalers, but that's just one player's opinion. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments. I love, there's a lot of talented Katsu players out there, and I always love hearing what y'all like to say about this type of stuff. But let me know what type of content you want to see in the future. Anything kind of, you know, giving my opinion on certain builds, certain things, semi lists, stuff like that. I'll definitely go over them. I actually want to do that. I want to take like certain high profile lists or different style lists that are coming up and just give my opinion on them, right? Whether I'm right or wrong doesn't matter. It's more of just like having fun and giving an opinion. But I hope you all have a good rest of your week. And please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to. If not, go to another Flesh Mode carrier. Do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.